Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Delilah. So it started out with Delilah waking up, and she's really happy because she had an amazing date with Jamal last night, and they texted each other, and so he you seem to be able to have fun and all this other stuff. So you could tell they like each other and she's on cloud nine. So then she actually gets up and she plays some of the same music that he played and hipped her to. She starts dancing and all of that. So then she gets a doorbell ring and it's Mason at the door. He wants to talk to her and, kind of update her on what's going on. So apparently he was at the bank ready to go in and try to, figure out some stuff that went down with the wire transfers, because a lot of the stuff that they're trying to pin on Leah right now is these wire transfers that she, okayed or whatever. She did her, electronic signature on. And so they basically trying to make it seem like, okay, don't try us. You were the one who's done all these other things, so much stuff connecting you, and your hand prints are on everything. So it looks like everything is not in her favor. But he said before he could even go in and try to do any kind of investigative digging, Gary Shay's wife done walked up in there, and apparently she went up in there and had a key to the safety deposit box, cleared everything out of that safety deposit box, closed the account, and gave the key to the folks because she hadn't closed it out. So he's trying to figure out what is the connection, what were the contents, what is going on. And so Delilah looking like, okay, what is going on too? So then a little bit more time has passed by, and Demetria is at the office, and she, seems kind of a little bit somber about how things went down the prior day, because she didn't know, obviously, that Harper was Jane Doe. So Harper came in like a few minutes after they show her, and she kind of made it seem like, I want to talk to you. And so she was like, well, if it has anything to do with yesterday, you ain't got to worry about it. No hard feelings. I'd rather not. And so, she is still trying to have a heart to heart. She apologized and all of that other stuff. And, before they could, really, really talk, Delilah came in and told them that she wanted Harper to send something over to Gary Shay's wife, saying basically, either come in and speak with us tomorrow, for this case, in reference to this case, or, she's going to have to get subpoenaed or whatever. And so, Harper was like, I'm going to be on that. I'm on that right now. Cool. Well, Leah then came by, and she talking about she want to settle. And so Delilah looking like, what you talking about you want to settle? She was like, look, he gonna pay me a whole lot of money. I'm willing to settle. And so she like, the offers are off the table. So what are you even talking about? She was like, well, he came by to see me last night. So Delilah looking at this heifer like, what you mean he came by to see you? Like, what is we talking about? And so she was like, look, apparently I done sat up here and I have okayed some wire transfers I ain't even know I was supposed to okay. And, I'm gonna come out wealthy at the end of this. Ain't no reason for me to hold back. And so Delilah is begging her to just give her a day, give her 24 hours, because she knows that the case will be won. She has a really good feeling that she's going to be able to prove that all of these things are, not what they seem to be, and all of that. And so she's just like, I don't care what you say. The answer's still going to be no, but do what you do for your 24 hours. And so, she was like, heifer, I've been arrested because of this case. My brother got hurt. Like, I am invested in this case. This case is personal to me because my brother got hurt behind this foolishness. So, girl, bye. So then, she done talking to Leah. And then she come out and she sees some flowers on Harper's desk. And so she was like, oh, those are nice. And so she was like, well, they just got here. They just arrived. And so obviously there are flowers for her, probably from Jamal. And she got a little smile on her face. And so Harper was like, oh, is that from the mystery man or whatever? And so, of course, she ain't really trying to talk about what was going on with that situation, but whatever. So then we actually see Demetria talking, and she's trying to have a conversation with she's having a conversation on the phone with someone who should be able to fax over some emails that will help with their case. And so earlier in the episode, we see her looking at it was certain pictures she was looking at that's supposed to help with the job that you're on and all this other stuff, but she knew about certain butterflies in general. And the person was like, oh, well, I'm going to Sussex. And she was like, well, if you're going to be in Sussex, that's fine. And, you're going to want to look at the butterflies while you're there. It's going to be easy to spot the male butterflies, but the female butterflies, oh, they could be right in front of you. You wouldn't even see them. So it's like the way she was talking, Delilah saw her in her mode doing what she was doing. And she was like, how did you know to do that? Like, and are you able to actually get the information? And so she was like, I think I am going to be able to get him to fax that information over, but we shall see. So I'm just like, I just love to see her work. So Harper is at work, and you can tell like it's getting late. It's like after hours, and she's watching a show. Now, at first I was like, girl, is this why you be lollygagging and you ain't ahead of the stuff that you should be ahead of? And so she's watching some kind of like court television show. And then she pauses it, and then she like yells for Demetria. And so Demetria in the like little common area, the little kitchen dinette area or whatever, and she turned off the water like, is she talking to me? Because, she would think she would never really talk to her like that. So they both are in there and they're watching it, and Demetria's trying to understand why she's even watching it. And so she's like, look, I looked up Gary O'Shea's wife. And, Delilah gave them the assignment to find out the connection between her, them people, Osborne, all them people, all of these people, all these major players, trying to figure out what the connection is. Is she the common denominator? What is going on? Even with Pat and Gale. And like the most is going on. And so they're really trying to find it. So Harper has actually been doing research. She'd have looked into this heifer. She can't find nothing on her. And so then she ran across this show, and she just so happened to see it. Initially, the way she was putting it in, she put it in her married name. And then after that, she just put her first name and then the Pattengale man's name in its entirety. And then, for whatever reason, that's what popped up. That's where she was smart in doing that. So that's where this episode came up, and they were like in court going against one another because this dude used to not be in the military. This dude used to be an alcoholic and we'll get into that later. But anyway, this dude was mooching off of her, living with her, and they were together. And everybody trying to figure out what in the world is going on. Were they lovers? What was going on? What happened? Don't nobody know what's going on at this point. So they found this out, and they're like, okay, this is what it is, but we don't know what her connection is to them. But it's something with Pattengale in some form or fashion. We don't know how. We don't know if she introduced her husband to him, if they used to be a thing. We don't know what the connection is and why this heifer was so quick to go in there and close this account. Like, it don't make no sense. So they called Delilah at the house. She at the house with her kids. Her nephew is still with the mama, and I really feel like this heifer is using this child for a check, honey, because you ain't had no concern for this child at all this time. Now all of a sudden you want it because your husband, you about to get a divorce from your husband, because you already know you ain't got no money coming in. You literally be at the house in your robe all day doing nothing. But I digress. The heifer irks my soul. I'm sorry. So anyway, so they called Delilah at home, and she's actually in the middle of cooking and serving the dinner to her kids, and she's talking about it, and she was like, oh my gosh, y'all did great. Y'all did a great job. And she told them about some place in the office where there is a bottle of wine, and told them to crack it open and celebrate with it. So they are doing that. And while they're in the middle of doing that, Demetria is having a one-on-one with Harper, and she's talking to her and trying to get her to understand why she came at her the way she did and why she's connected to her. and why her story involves her. So in her mind, she's like, okay, I'm gonna try to follow you, but I don't see why anything would have anything to do with me. So to make a long story short, Demetria had a whole lot of things thrown at her. She used to be married to somebody for 10 years. The dude ended up having cancer. He went all the way through, and the most went down with him. She was in school. She had to quit school. She had to drop out because she was trying to help him through his sickness, and then she took another couple of years off trying to get over him. Like, it was the most that was going on in her life. But she was telling the truth when she told Delilah that she saw Delilah on TV fighting the Jane Doe case, and it motivated her to get back up and do what she was going to do. And that's why she ended up going back to school. So she was trying to say that's the reason why they have that connection, and it is what it is, and why she, feels like she should put herself back out there like that. I think that Harper it'll just be at her own pace. I don't know when, but yeah. I told y'all before, I couldn't put my I couldn't put my finger on what it was with Harper, but I was just like, okay, you come off like you jealous. And I mean, in a way, I feel like she was jealous in a sense, but it's like, girl, why be jealous when y'all can be like somewhat on the same level, and y'all actually add where the other one doesn't have whatever. So it's like y'all compliment one another. So it's like, ain't no reason to be jealous. Y'all, so anyway, Mason has this woman partner who he does all these different little things with, and so they're looking into the wire transfers. Come to find out that Leah didn't do none of this stuff. Her digital footprint ain't had nothing to do with none of this stuff, and these people that sat up here and they used that bank that Pat and Gail is over to try them, because literally months in advance all this stuff went down. But 10 days ago a system was put in place, and the way that the wire transfers that they talking about are set up, these were completely fabricated. These people that made up some wire transfers on a system that was just created and implemented 10 days prior. So Leah didn't even have anything to do with this. Like, Leah been out of this job. So it's like, girl, y'all done did the most to try to set this heifer up, and it ain't even her. Like, y'all doing the most. Like, what? Y'all knew y'all was wrong. So anyway, Delilah is actually at the house when they find this information out. And so, Tamara came over, and her man, I just had his name. I don't know why I forgot his name all of a sudden. But he ain't been there all day. He ain't came back. He hadn't called. And so she's trying to make it seem like, yeah, he hadn't called me, but yeah, we've been texting all day. Don't try to make it seem like my relationship is not intact, because it is. Don't be trying to sit up there and deflect and all this other. I was like, girl, I really feel like he ain't said nothing to you all day. I really feel like he ain't said nothing. I don't know what it could be about, but I don't feel like he didn't really, reached out to her all day. I don't, Casey, I don't think he reached out to her all day. I don't think so, because the way she been acting, I don't think so. So anyway, they're in the middle of talking, and it's getting the air getting really thick. Then Mason come over. He started talking and basically telling her what he has found. And then he's like, should I, talk to you in private about this? And so, she was just like, go ahead, say what you're going to say. And made it clear that this is a situation of some foolishness that has been created. And the whole reason why Tamara even came over there was to say to her, look, this heifer finna settle. You might as well go on ahead and let's find somebody that we can, a judge that we can agree on, or whatever. Find somebody that we can agree on to just say this is what it is, whoever they're going to use for the lawsuit. And they agreed on the person, but Delilah is dead set against it not going to court or whatever. Delilah feels like it's going to go to court, and Tamara feels like, yeah, we're going to settle. Like, she has nothing. She has no irons in the fire. Like, she has nothing. She does not have a leg to stand on. So when he came in with that information, I don't know. It's a mess. And it's just to the point where, despite the fact that they are friends, and that she is cool with her kids that call her aunt and all of that, it's just a lot going on. And I don't know if they're going to be able to come back from this, depending on how bad it go. But I don't know. It just looks sketchier and sketchier every single time that they, try to link up. So Gary Shade's wife come in and they speak to her the next day. This heifer lie talking about she don't know, what's his name? Rick Pattengale. Talking about she don't know him. Delilah looked at this heifer like, yeah, heifer, you a lie. Like, all of them looked at her like, girl, bye, we know the truth. All of them, that's how they looked at her. They didn't even say nothing. And so, basically, Delilah had to let her know that she know what it is, so what's the relationship? The heifer eventually says that she and Rick Pattengale used to be a thing. He was flat broke. He used to live with her, and he was a drunk. So their relationship didn't work out, and in order for him to get himself sober, he ended up going into the military to dry himself out. And it worked. But they ended up, for whatever reason, giving him this big contract and, you know, giving him these responsibilities, and it is what it is. And I'm just like, that don't make no sense. Okay, so how we get to you doing what you're doing? So then she was just like, you know, in order to make sure that things don't cross paths in some kind of way, he was going to get like a big amount of money because of the job that he was working. And, you know, she was basically the reason why her husband, his information got how it got. I don't know. It was just a way that there would be no traces of him, the two guys having any interaction. So for whatever reason, she was the go-between, and they just wanted to make sure that nothing would be seen and come back on the company in some way, because both of them worked for the company, and yeah, it's just a mess, y'all. So then, when the heifer about to leave, Leah roll up and she's like, hey, and you could tell that her and the wife are very familiar, and so she gonna try to play it off like she ain't never met the heifer before and she don't know her like that, when she was this man's secretary or whatever, and assistant or whatever she was. And so the day before this man died, she brought baby clothes over, but she trying to act like she don't remember that and all, must got me mistaken with somebody else and whatever. Like, she really tried to play that role like she don't know this heifer, but she did know her. And so, you know, she spoke to her. I mean, I'm glad the wife telling all the business, because this heifer lying for no reason. Like, this is why don't nobody trust you. You stay lying when the truth will do, and then you keep getting caught up in stuff. Then you want to act like you don't understand what's going on. So then Delilah is trying to talk to this heifer. And I'm just like, sometimes I just wish that she would just be all the way done. Because this heifer is trash. Like, I can't. Like, and y'all, it's really looking like this heifer is the reason why that man is dead. And like, she's sitting up there being silent when certain questions are being asked of her. Like, she really sitting up there like, I'm like, girl, you finna go to jail. All you had to do was work with them. Like, if you gonna sit up there and be sneaky, and you just sat up here and did all this stuff you ain't had no business doing, you already finna get caught up anyway. You should have been took the money, or you should have shut up and let Delilah do her job and do what she was gonna do before you end up dead. Like, I don't. It's like every time I look up, she doing something to get her hands dirtier and dirtier, and it's like it's making everybody on both sides look crazy. Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm trying to figure out, was it something in the baby clothes that killed this man? Like, I don't know what's going on, but Delilah's trying to figure out if she brought something outside of baby clothes. Like, maybe it was like a blacklist situation. Might have brought something over there with the clothes, and if he opened it up and touched it, he died or something. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed the recap review of Delilah. I will be back briefly with something else. Hopefully y'all will enjoy that. Y'all have a good one, and I'll see you later. Bye.